This is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Now today we're going to be going over Dragon Ridge again, which is where I showed the secret entrance and the dragon sculpture overlooking it or guarding it or whatever. And there's loads of crazy things. Like I said, there's loads of crazy things on this ridge and near the bottom of the ridge and on top of it. But I'm going to show you an overview of the whole thing if I can today. Now, this may get a little bit complicated, so what I'm going to do, when I show you each Gigapan, I'm going to put a few clips in, one or two clips of the things in as well to show you. But I'm also going to show you these things with the magnifier. And really the best thing you can do is to actually follow the links below to these Gigapans and then check them out yourself and have a close look. Because I've got multiple angles on things here. And there's lots of crazy stuff. And this is the main one. We're going to start with 4171. This is Crusty Rover Sol 4171. Now, what we've got here is, I think, either a calcified animal or it's a figurine or small statue that is eroded and broken. Now, I'm leaning with an actual calcified animal here, but I could be wrong. It may be a gargoyle type statuette. Now, I've shown many of these before. In fact, probably over 100. Nearly 200 of these on my channel over the last 11 years, okay? And what's really cool about this one here is we've got another angle of it here because it shows up in two sets of images so far. It may even show up again in a few days' time, and we may get a left angle on it, but we got this one here facing us almost, and then this one from the side. Okay, now I'm going to show you where it is. Here's a larger clip. It's right next to this triangular block, which I think is part of a structure. Now, this is near the secret entrance on the Dragon Ridge. We have this big block, and then down here we have what looks like some kind of creature. Let's zoom in. That's calcified, but it may actually be an eroded gargoyle type carving, okay? Because we do have lots of weird sculptures in the area, including that dragon that I showed, okay? So I'm 50-50 on this, whether it's a carving or an actual calcified animal. It has the attributes of a calcified animal that's frozen and then preserved and mineralized into a fossil. Okay, so it could be either. But now I did post this about a week ago or a few days back on Mars Magazine, and one or two people said they thought it was just a bit of sandstone, eroded sandstone. I disagree, because if you look carefully, we have an ear just here, right? Two eyes, two nostrils, a broken mouth here, and we have this arm coming down here. There seems to be something here, like there's two like metal parts or something on it here, like really strange details, right? And then we got this kind of like, it's getting really close. We got this thing coming down the back. There's some crazy detail in here, and the weird thing is, we got a head with two eyes, two nostrils, and a mouth, broken mouth. We got an ear sticking out here. But if you look at the other one, we can see it from the front. Now this is a bit further away, so the detail isn't quite so good. But we can see that it has another arm here, and it's holding the arm up almost as if this thing was using a mobile phone. Now, I'm not saying it was using a mobile phone. I'm just saying that's a similar posture to this, as if you were holding an object to your ear. Just here, see that? So we've got an arm there. We've got the other arm here. Not as much detail on this one, but you can see that there's something there. Down here as well, we've got something. Let's go back. If you get too close, it blurs out. So you've got to get the distance just right with these. there's an object here, so we've got an arm coming down, but there's also kind of like a thumb or something holding an object just there. But we can see the other arm here. There's the elbow. There's a sort of hand here, as if it's like a gargoyle on a mobile phone. Now, what would a Martian gargoyle or creature be holding to their head or ear in such a manner? I ask you. I mean, it's just insane. We got a leg here as well, a withered, eroded leg. It seems, right? It's there. Now you can see the body here, right? You can see like a breastbone there, maybe down the middle. Interesting, right? But this one's got a bit more detail, and we can see that arm. And but it's almost as if there's like a long snake-like thing coming down the back, like hair coming down the back. Unbelievable, right? Look at this. We've got the ear just here, and then we've got what looks like hair coming down, like a long, almost like a pipe-like part. Now, could that be long hair at the back? Very interesting. Now, let's have a look at it in the actual Gigapan. Now, this is a bit bright this end, but what this does show you is that this thing is quite small and is probably only about 4 or 5 inches in size. It may be a bit smaller, maybe a bit bigger. I don't know exactly. It looks big here because I'm zoomed in, but it's not very big. It's very bright in this, but you can see that this thing behind it looks like an artificial block, part of a structure, because it's triangular and it has curved edges, curved corners, I should say. It's got a curve there, it's got a more of a sharp edge there, and here's we're kind of broken off. But this looks like part of a structure, and there's even what may be a gargoyle here, just here, right? But it's a bit bright, so I've got a darker clip of that. This looks like a gargoyle here. See, there's a mouth, chin, nose, eye there, joined to this thing. Now, this may have been joined to this here, this big block. It could have been joined to this bit here, or maybe this was stood up. I don't know. But we got fragments, architectural fragments in the area, right? Now I'm going to show you some of those. There's one up here. This looks like an architectural fragment. We've got a beveled edge on this straight block here, right? We've got loads of crazy stuff over here, like this thing here. This looks like an architectural fragment. This one here, right? And there's some weird stuff up over here to the right. Just in case you think that these sort of things don't exist on Mars, well, this is the one I'm showing you today. This is the 4171. I called it the Gopher or Meerkat initially. It looks a bit like a meerkat, but it's not. It's something else. So there's the nude clip. Here's the slightly older clip from the front, and where you can see the arm up here, holding the arm and hand up to the head with some kind of blocky looking object. Just there, right? I'll show you the magnifier just there. See, look, we've got this thing sticking out of the face as if it's holding something up to the ear. Very odd indeed, right? So this may be a gargoyle type figurine, or it may actually even be a preserved and mineralized creature that was frozen on this ridge and has become mineralized. Now, if you follow this link here, it will take you to the other Gigapan I've got here, right? So this is the same ridge, and we got some different angles of stuff here, including the Mircat or Gopher or whatever it is, right? There it is, and there's the actual overall shot there, which is a bit better than the other one because it's not so over bright. We've got that triangular block with the Gopher type thing in front of it, right? There it is. And there's also some other weird stuff in this one, but I'm not going to go through all that now. just in case you don't think this is real, here is another one. Now, this one here was spotted all the way back in 2013, right? And if you follow this link here, let's follow the link, it would take you right to the actual gigapan of this one. This is the Mars Meerkat stroke Gopher that was spotted in 2013 by UFO VNI. And I've got the actual gigapan here. This is a really early one from early in the Mars mission, Curiosity mission. This is the actual gigapan here. And I've got clips down here. Here's my original cover from my original video, right? Which is quite small, but in those days you could only upload small images as thumbnails. So they were a bit smaller then. 720p, right? That's my original cover. Here's a clip. Now this clip is from PIA 16568, which is an official NASA panoramic or gigapan, right? And there's links to it up here. If you go to the top here, you can link to the images by clicking on the NASA link. The same with all these, right? Go to the top right and click on the links there as well. So this went sort of viral back in the day, back in, 11 years ago, right? And 2013. And a few channels did this. I did it, and Will Ferrar did it over at What's Up in the Sky, and a few other channels did it, and they all did really well. And it kind of got us off the ground, a lot of us Mars channels back then. But this looks like another calcified animal, right? It's not very clear. It's very small in the actual pan. It's actually better if you zoom back a bit. There's another, a brighter clip of it here. It's a bit over bright, this one. This is really bright. But there it is. Now, this is also about the same size. About 4 or 5, maybe a few inches or something like that. The same size as the one I'm showing you today. This one here. It's just further away, so it looks smaller, right? So, and I can show you multiple examples of similar things like this as well. Now, this is something I found years ago. This is from Sol 1485. Now, this isn't a gopher. This isn't a meerkat type sized animal. This is something different. I don't even know what it is. But this is a typical example of the sort of things you find on the ground. Usually, they're at the bottom of a ridge next to a large rock, because if that large rock wasn't there, they'd have been eroded away to almost nothing. And this is another example of that, how things can survive on Mars, probably for many thousands of years, if they're next to a large rock or they're in a slightly sheltered area. Okay? Now, I don't know what this is. I called this Mr. Crabby. Right, let's go back a bit. There's the raw clip, and there's the actual dude or crab or insect or whatever it is. It looks like some kind of animal or insect, or who knows? Who knows what it is, right? It's got arms sticking out here. It's got another one here. It's got like a leg here and a head here, right? 1485, and I'll show you where it is on the actual gigapan. Here it is. So it's next to a big boulder, right, which has protected it from erosion. And there it is. I mean, I've got a raw version of it here as well. So you can go up to there and see it again in the raw image. Let's have a look at the raw image. I don't know what it is. To me, it looks like some kind of crustacean or crab or something that's fossilized. But who knows? There's not a lot of detail here. This thing's really small. This may only be about 2 or it's somewhere between 1 and 4 inches. Small, right? So you're never going to see a great deal of detail there, but it does have limbs. And that's the giveaway with these things. If it's got limbs, then it's not just a rock. Could it be a crab? Could it be a little person? Could it be like a little burial figurine or something? It seems to be holding this object here with an arm sticking out here, right? It's got this kind of little thing here, this object. So who knows? that's a typical example of the sort of thing you'll find if you look hard enough. If you look through these gigapans, you'll occasionally find these little bug-like creatures. And I think some of them are actually crabs. Some of them are actually crustaceans of various sorts. I've shown what look like fossilized crabs and lobsters and things like that before. It's quite possible that there were all different types of crustaceans in this lake when it was active. Let me know what you think down below in the description because I'm a bit stuck with that one. So we've got this gopher or Mircat spotted by UFO VNI in 2013. If you click on these links here, there will be links on here to the video. There's a link up here somewhere. Yeah, we are. That will take you to the video, and if you look in the video description, it tells you who found it and when. As with all my videos, I always credit the other people that have found things, because what my channel is not just a channel full of evidence of creatures and architecture on Mars and all that kind of stuff, and UFOs flying about. It's actually an archive and a public record of what everyone's found and when it was found and where it was found. Okay? It's like a big archive. And if you go through, you'll find about 10 or 15, maybe 10% of my videos, the things that I'm showing were found by other people, other researchers from all over the world. Now, that's an old find from years ago that is similar to the new one here. But further away, it may be a different type of creature. The head shape's different. There's different detail on it. But it's the same sort of size, okay? So it may be a similar type of creature, I don't know. There's this weird thing here. Very angular details in here that look like they're unnatural, okay? It seems to have an eye just there as well. I don't know if it is, just here. So bear in mind, this is Dragon Ridge, and on Dragon Ridge we have dragons and secret entrances, so anything is pretty much possible, okay? Now this is Sol 4166, okay? Now this is the bottom of Dragon Ridge. What I was just showing you is over on the sort of, over on the left. This is the centre, lower centre of Dragon Ridge. And there's more architectural fragments here. Now I'm not going to go through all of these because it would take all day. This is I think, possibly the same object that I just showed you, but from another angle, or it's a very similar object to this one. I don't know if it is the same. It's got similar details on it, and it's almost perfectly square and looks unnatural. All right? It's been colorized. Now, in reality, it would probably be more like this in color. What I call bluestones or blue blocks. Look at that. Really nice, right? But there's loads of them kind of precariously balanced on top of other things. And they look like they've been placed there or something. It's really odd how they're balanced. And then there's this thing, which I think is part of a column or structure here. We've got a part here, right? But then this bit looks odd because when you go on the end of it here, it has these weird spiky bits sticking out at the end, just here. Now, if I go back and use the magnifier, you can have a look at that. We've got the column or rock object here, stone object, with what look like metal parts or something, wire sticking out the end, with fine detail. In fact, the detail's so fine that the camera can't even pick it up. There's something sticking out there. Now, would a normal rock do that? I don't think it would. So I think, like I've said before, a lot of these things are actually made of concrete and they've got wire running right through them, holding them together, like rebar, okay? I've showed many examples of this before on my channel. I've done a whole bunch of videos and shown loads and loads of examples of that. So if you check out some of my recent Gigapans and go back through them, the recent ones which are around this number, you will see lots of these precariously balanced on top of other rocks, which is really odd, as if they've been placed there carefully. This is the same Dragon Ridge again. It kind of looks broken off at the top. You've got some detail there. And we've got this weird kind of circular emblem on the side of it. Some kind of design to it, right? And this goes right down into the sand. And then we have some more spikes. These are really cool, these ones. Look at these. Interesting stuff. I've shown lots of spikes before. A lot of them are natural, but some of them are actually metal parts of structures that have eroded away. Right, so we've got columns, we've got spikes, we've got blue blocks, some of which are very square indeed and look completely artificial. We have what look like columns and concrete parts with spikes sticking out the end, which looks like wire or rebar. Then we have odd objects like this. We have what look like calcified animals or possible gargoyles that were carved and maybe attached to some of these structures, okay? I'm not sure with this one. To me, it looks more like a calcified animal rather than an actual gargoyle, but it is gargoyle sized and there are gargoyles in the area. So this is where it gets complicated, trying to recognize and decide which they are, okay? Because you have lots of examples of both in the area and you think, well, is it that in that team or the other team? Okay, so it can get quite difficult to actually positively identify a lot of these things. But what's great about this one is we have two angles, right? And on this one you can see his arm. Let's go back. And on this one you can see his arm holding something up to his ear, like a mobile or some other object, which in itself is amazing. Now, did they have mobile phones on Mars? I think they did. Just because we're mostly seeing at the moment old stonework and the remains of an ancient civilization doesn't mean they didn't have a modern one as well. And I've shown things like cars, I've shown things like androids. I've shown things like mobile phones, I've shown things like aircraft. What we have here is like a time capsule. And what we're looking at in this particular area is old stuff, remains of old stuff. Why? Because old civilizations made stuff of stone, big, thick stonework, which survives the millennia, survives erosion, could even survive nuclear blasts and things like that. Okay? Whereas a lot of the modern stuff may have just been wiped out. Just in case you don't think things can survive for a long time on Mars, I put this article up on Mars Magazine on Facebook about this girl. Now, this is a 500-year-old mummy, which is perfectly preserved and looks like the person is just asleep, right? But the reason for that is that this person gradually froze on up a mountain at high altitude where the air is very thin and where there's very little moisture and it's very cold and frozen, right? Discovered in 1999 on the summit, this 15-year-old girl sacrificed over 500 years ago remains one of the best preserved mummies ever found, frozen in sleep. Her preservation at 6,000 meters allowed even her blood and internal organs to remain intact, providing invaluable insights into Incan high altitude rituals, right? Now, the conditions up a mountain in Peru are very similar to the conditions in a crater on Mars. The air is very thin, it's very, very cold and very, very dry, okay? It's very similar. So there are also examples I've shown of mummified seals in Antarctica, which are 6 or 7 thousand years old and look similar and perfectly preserved, okay, where they've been frozen. So the point is, when you have things that on a planet that's this cold in this area, and where the air is very thin, and where there's almost no moisture whatsoever, it's extremely dry. Things preserve extremely well and can probably last a million years. right? The surface, or at least 500,000 years. Whereas on Earth, they would probably only last 20,000 years or something like that, eventually just disintegrate. But like I've said many times before, Mars is perfect for preservation of fleshy material and little creatures and people and whatever because of the conditions. It's very cold. There's also high mineral content in the sand, which crystallizes stuff as well in the salt lake here, right? So things would have preserved extremely well and frozen almost instantly because at night it goes down to minus 120. Even in the summer, it goes down to about minus 80, 90 at night, right? So things would literally freeze very quickly. And if they died, they would just stay where they are and gradually mineralize over a matter of weeks in some cases, especially if they're near the edge of the lake bed where all the sulfurous material is, okay? The sulfates. So check the links out below. If you don't have the hover zoom magnifier, I recommend you get it because this will be a lot more fun and you'll be able to see a lot more if you use the magnifier to concentrate and focus on these crazy objects and preserved remains on Mars. Okay? Thanks for watching, everybody.